everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Rucklehouse from the Widow Rucklehouse and Threshold of Hineni, and today I decided we're going to make belly bands, okay? So we're going to make 2 vertical belly bands and 1 long horizontal one which will cover 2 pages. Alright, so I wanted to show you also, I went ahead like I said and I sewed all the way around the edge of this. Now if I cut it, let's say that I cut it right here, I'm going to need to sew on the edge, okay? Oh, and I also wanted to show you the back. So this is what the back looks like of the one that's sewn. So you can see we don't want to use this for cards or tags that people would, you know, want to write on the back of. Because even if we put a piece of paper over it, you've still got this texture underneath it, which the texture is so cool and feels really good, but it'd be very hard to write on. Whereas these ones that are glued, they're really hard, so they're going to be great for tags, and they're white on the back because we used a white paper. Okay? So that's kind of, you know, the difference, and that's why I do some that are glued, even though I do like to sew a lot. Okay, so let's start out with this. I want to use these ones that are stitched for the belly band. Now, if you didn't sew any and you just glued, that's okay. You can use your glued ones for your belly bands, but I'm going to go ahead and use this. And since this is, I think, oh, it's almost the same height. It's not quite the same height as the book. Let's see. Well, let's do, yeah, these are a little bit smaller because this is 12 by 12. Huh. Yeah, so this is like 9 inches long, or whatever inches long, I can't remember, and 9 inches tall. So this isn't quite the right size, but we can do it from this way. Okay, so let's see, this is going to be a little bit short for our belly band. That's why we might want to do some Franken paper. Let's go ahead and make the vertical belly bands. The one that we're going to make for the center, well, actually, yeah, we can just stitch it together because we've got it all stitched together anyway. It's all patchworky. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's cut 2 12-inch strips, even though we're just going to need 9 inches. What do we want for the belly band? We're going to kind of look at it and see. I think I like this for the belly band. Okay, and then the other thing is, do I want to just use this, or do I want to have some lace on it? Because if I'm going to have lace on the edges, then I want to cut it a little thinner. So yeah, let's have lace on the edges of these. So I'm going to cut them, I don't know, that's probably about 1 inch or so. What is it? Yeah, it's probably about 1 inch wide. So I'm going to line it up to this dude here. And I'm going to go ahead and use my trimmer on it. I like to use my trimmer to cut these stitched ones because it works better than my paper scissors. But if I use my fabric scissors to cut this because of the thread, then, you know, I'm cutting paper and that's not good. So, but I can use the fabric scissors for cutting the threads that are holding it all together here in between. Does that make sense? So I use my trimmer first. Okay, so this is actually about 1/2 inch wide. Okay, and then I can put lace on the sides of it, which I'll show you when we're ready to do it. Okay, and then I still think I like this too. Do I want them to both be the same? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this one I'm going to make just slightly wider. Don't want it too wide because I'm going to add that lace to it. And I should turn it sideways so you can see the whole thing here. Okay, so I'm pushing this edge up against this, so it's going to cut straight. Okay, and you've got to really hold it in place because you're going to be going through thread, even though it doesn't actually cut the thread, some of it. Okay, there we go. Oops, didn't even go through the second layer. Okay, so let's put that in again. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see exactly where I was cutting. That's kind of weird, but I usually do make it go back and forth a few times when I'm cutting through several layers like this, and especially with the thread. See there, it's gone all the way through. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so these are going to be our two vertical ones. And I don't, here's the reason why I want one that goes all the way across for the long one. Okay, let's say that this is the page that I'm going to do it on. It's not, but I'm going to have it go across here and then have the binding go through it. All right, so I don't want to sew two pieces together there because it'll make it too hard for the binding to go through. Okay, so that's about right. Okay, let's do this. Let's cut it. And I might be using this in the center. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to cut this about 1 inch wide. I'm just eyeballing it, you guys. I don't measure, except for things like the pages and stuff that has to match up. This doesn't. Okay, so that's one. Let's cut those threads. You're going to see how cool this is going to look when it's done. Okay, so that's one. And then we're going to cut another one, and I'm going to somehow connect those together. We'll see how we're going to do it. I don't want it to be, I want this to be the same size so that they'll connect right. I don't want it to be real thick where we have to bind it, because that's like really a pain to go through. Okay, so I'm holding that in place there. Okay, did I get it? Yeah. Okay, so let's just go ahead and trim these threads that are holding it together there. Okay, I am cutting a little bit through paper. Well, these aren't my really good fabric scissors. Let's make sure that these match up okay. Yep. Okay, so then I'm going to set the rest of this aside with my other, because we're just going to work on the belly bands today. All right, so then I don't want to sew it together where it's going to be in the binding. Okay, so I want it to go a little bit farther from that. So I'm going to look at this. Which one do I like the best? I like both of them, actually. Okay, so how big does this need to be? How long does this need to be? I think it's 12, but yes, 12 inches. Okay, so we want to make this 12 inches long, but we don't want to join it in the center. Okay, so I'm going to make it 12 inches long. I'm going to overlap it just a little tiny bit. Okay, and you won't even be able to tell because it's all patchwork anyway, right? So let's go ahead, and I'm overlapping it like about that much right there. Okay, so what is that? Like about ½ inch. But you guys, seriously, you do not need to measure, just eyeball it. We just want to make sure that we're going to have 12 inches total. So I'm going to sew it at the edge there of the top piece, oops, in zigzag. Really want to sew this in zigzag because I want it to hold really well. Okay, and then, okay, so I'll show you where I sewed. I sewed right here, and then I'm going to turn it over, and right here where this edge comes, I'm going to sew it there too with zigzag. Okay, so that little area is going to be thicker than the rest, but it's okay, you really can't tell. I'll show you. And all these little threads, that's okay, that makes it look fuzzy. So see, you can't tell where I've joined it. It's a little bit bigger right there, so let's just trim that slightly. We don't have to trim all the way along, just like, see, like that. Okay, and then let's make it 12 inches long. So I think actually that I like this green the best, so I want to keep that on. Ooh, but I really like that too. We've got some of the green here. Let's go ahead and, yeah, keep this. Okay, so 12 inches is right here. Let me get my paper scissors. I don't want to keep cutting with, sorry if this jiggles, you guys. I've got my scissors hung on the arm of the recorder. Okay, and then this can go in with my Franken paper. Okay. All right, so there we go. So now we've got a long one that's going to fit all the way across in the center fold. This is actually a little bit longer, but we can cut it off once we put it in. Okay, so it's not going to go on that page. All right, so and first we want to decorate these anyway. So let's go ahead and let's get some lace, I think, to put on the sides of these. And again, if you're using glue instead of sewing, you could just sew those together. I mean, not sew those together. You can just glue those together just like I did. Let them dry. Okay, and you can also glue your lace on. That's totally fine. Okay, so what do we want for the edge? Do we want something thin? I think so. I think that makes it wide enough. It's plenty wide. Okay, so let's find the end. Thought I saw an end. Here we go. Okay, and these are both measured the same. How long are they? They're 11 inches long. Oh, these are for the, these need to be just 9 inches long. So we're going to trim these two, because these are going to be vertical. So 9 inches right here. And I'm going to drop this into my Frankenpaper thing. All right, and then 9 inches here. That's what's so handy about these boards, you guys. And this is a self-healing board too, so you can actually like take a knife and cut right on it. Okay, so then I want my fabric scissors, and I want to cut the lace. I want to cut 4 9-inch pieces, and I'm just going to use the same lace for both of them. 1. If you're gluing, you're going to get glue on your mat because it's going to go through the lace. And it's okay if you use that glue that I showed you in the last video. I'll show it to you again. It dries clear, so it's not going to show at all what comes through the lace on your paper. But on your mat, when you're done gluing it, before it dries, you want to wipe it up. And I always keep a package of baby wipes right here at my desk. I'll show you those too. I just get them at Walmart. I just get the cheap kind. I use those for cleaning up my stamps and my stencils and my mat, and sometimes my hands if they get a lot of glue on them. Okay, so here's the baby wipes that I get, the Parents' Choice. They have different fragrances. I finally decided I prefer the fragrance free, and I just keep those by my desk. And then I also, this is the glue that I would recommend if you're going to put them on with glue. Okay, so it's Crafter's Pick, the ultimate. It lasts for a long time, but I use a lot of that. Okay, so we're going to sew the lace on either side of this, and we can either put it on top or we can put the lace underneath so that we don't lose any of the design. If we put it underneath, then we have to sew a little bit more carefully so that the lace actually sticks out and shows. So that's what it looks like if we have it underneath. And what does it look like if we put it on top? Oh, I think I like it better on top. Okay, so we're going to sew these on to these ones right now. We're going to set our long one aside and just sew these on, or you can glue them. If you glue, then you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for it to dry, but not very long. That glue dries really quickly. It's one of the things I like about it is that it doesn't dry so quickly that it makes it hard to adjust things. Like if you put it in the wrong place, you put something in the wrong place, it's not going to dry instantly so that you can't adjust it. There are some glues who do, and then you can't adjust it. You're just stuck with whatever you have. But it also does dry quickly enough that I can go on and work on other pages. So I like that. I'm going to slow this down just slightly since I've got to be more careful with how it looks. Because even though I am sewing it on top, I still want the belly band to be, the lace to be sewn on a little bit more carefully, because I don't want to cover the entire, belly band that I made. Okay, so I'm looking to make sure that I've got the right side up. See, isn't that cute? And it'll go just perfectly in the book. I think I'm going to do the other one with the lace under, just so you can see what it looks like. I want to make sure that I'm catching that lace, but that I've got it as close to the edge as I can, so that I don't cover up too much of the pretty paper. I love belly bands because you can put them in the book and they will hold so much stuff in place. Okay, so this one we're going to put the lace underneath, and again I'm looking at it to see which is the right side, which side looks better. I'm going to put it underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over so that I can see where I'm sewing it here. Okay. And again, you know, if you don't want the stitches to show for whatever reason, you can always put in white thread. And if you glue it, then you're not going to have any thread showing at all. And you can actually be a little bit pickier about where you place it, because you can adjust it with your hands. So there are pros and cons for sewing or for gluing. I love to sew, and I like the textures that are added. Oops, that one's not sewn all the way there. Some people, like, I think that when you sew it, it stays on better, but some people think that it degrades the paper, which it might, and so then it might tear off easier. I haven't found that to be true. I've never had any lace tear. I've never had anybody tell me that a journal that they bought from me tore where I had sewn something on. So I don't know, but some people really feel that it weakens the paper. So, you know, it's just, you know, think about what you want and do it the way that you like best. Check and rethread the upper thread. Uh-oh. Okay, sorry guys. We gotta rethread it here. See what's going on. It did kind of glop up on that last one, didn't it? Now, we'll see, since I'm mid-stitch, I'm not sure if it'll thread itself. I may have to thread it, but we'll see. Nope, I have to thread it myself. Okay, this is going to take a moment. Sing a song while I do this, because I'm like half blind. I used to be able to thread sewing machines really easily. Ooh, that one did go in easily. I used to thread them really easily, but now my eyes are so bad. It takes me a few tries usually. That's one of the reasons why Bill got me this machine that threads itself. Okay, what's going on? The thread is all tangled. I'm gonna have to thread it again, sorry. Even though I got it on the first try, gotta thread it again. Because I somehow twisted it and got it knotted, and of course now it's not going to thread as easily. Let's cut off the end. I do love this machine. Okay. And I don't complain when I do have to thread it, because most people have to thread their own machine all the time, right? I get out of threading it a lot of the time. Okay, come on here. Shoot, okay, there we go. So I'm still, oops, nope, I pulled it out. So I'm still getting a really full schedule. What happens, they can't really tell us when we're going to be ending, because we're allowed to teach the kids until the number of classes that they've purchased is used up. And so far I've been getting fully booked, so that's nice. But I've heard rumors that Beijing has said that they have to be done by the end of September. So I may be out of a job by the end of this month. So we'll just see. I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and sew on this side, hopefully. Sounds like it's running okay. I don't know what happened there. This is usually a very, very well-behaved sewing machine. Okay. All right, so I'll show you what they look like. So this is the one that has the lace on top. This is the one that has the lace on the bottom. So see, with the lace on the bottom, you can't see as much of the lace like you can on here, but you can see more of the paper. So I don't know, whatever you prefer. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one. I'm definitely going to do the lace on top for this one. Let's use some, yeah, let's use some off-white, some cream-colored lace for this one. Okay, so this is, I think, 12 inches, right? All right, so 12 inches. I don't know what time it is. My alarm is going to go off at 4. And if we're getting close to that, then it may cut this off. So if it does, then I'll finish up on a separate video. Okay. I'm going to sew this one on top for sure. And this is the right side. Okay. And then we'll see if we want to do anything more to decorate these. I'm not sure that we will, but we'll see. Probably not the horizontal one, but maybe the, you know, those sparkly things that I showed you on the last video might be kind of fun to do on the center of the vertical ones. We'll see. I think buttons look really pretty, but then those are hard to write on the page above it. So those little sparkly rhinestones, I'm hoping will make it so I can have something going down the center without making it difficult to write on. Okay, and then this one, look and see which side is the best. It's this side here. See, isn't that pretty? I love using a master board. It just gives us this really cool patchwork coordinated thing going on. I'm not stretching the lace. You do not want to stretch the lace. If you stretch the lace, then it'll make your paper curl, which you don't want. Okay, so now we've got those all done. I think we're going to put this one, do we want it in the center? Or do we want to do something? I think we want to do something else on that page. So let's look for a page to put this on. I'm kind of thinking, see how it's just got a little bit of this green? So let's put it, let's see if we can find that green page here. There we go, like that. Ew, and then that makes it nice. It's got a contrast with the black. What do you think? Does that look the best, or should we do it like maybe on a black page? Oh, that's too busy. Where's another black page? Like that, so it would go around like this and kind of coordinate with the pink. That's kind of nice. I think I like that. Okay, let's do that. We're going to do it on this black page right here that doesn't have any lace on it, so that's kind of good. I mean, we could do it on one that has lace. That would be okay, but it's a little bit easier if we don't. Okay, so where we're going to sew on this is just on the ends. Just right here on the ends. Oh, and I've got some lace hanging off here that I need to cut. Okay, and that can go, this little tiny scrap can go in with the Franken paper. Okay, so we're just going to sew it right here on the ends. We're not going to sew it in the center because that'll make it hard when we're binding it. It'll get bound in the center when we do the binding. So I think we're going to do it this way. Okay, because this is going to be the page that you'll see first. This one will be like on the back, on the left side, so it's not quite as noticeable. So I always want to get my best ones, my best sides on the right. Okay, and I'm just eyeballing it to get it approximately in the center. It doesn't matter if it's exact. Okay, and sew it right along the edge there. Okay, so my battery ran out while I was putting in the belly bands, and I didn't realize it, so I did that all the way. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you the belly bands that I put in and tell you how I did that. But I'm going to make another video, which will be tomorrow, I'm going to off camera make some more belly bands, and then I'm going to show you on camera installing those, but that time I will use glue because this time I sewed them, so that way you'll have both ways, so it'll actually kind of be better. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the belly bands that I put in. So there were 2 vertical belly bands, and as you can see they're on both sides of the same paper. Okay, so I had lace on top of this one, and then I added some of this to it, and I can't remember exactly what ended up in the video, so I'm showing you that. Okay, then all I had to do, I took out this page, okay, turned these sideways to hold my place, set them aside, and then I sewed just the top and the bottom. I zigzagged it, and I did it twice so that it really holds it well. Okay, same thing over here, did those both. Okay, and then the horizontal one, oh, that's interesting, I did them both on black paper. Didn't realize that. Maybe I did at the time. Okay, so the horizontal one I did like this. It goes all the way across, all right, and I zigzagged here and here twice on each one, but left all this open. I don't need to do it where it's, you know, in the center of this page, because that's going to be bound eventually, so that'll hold that in place, so I don't need to worry about that. So that's it. I mean, it's really, really easy to make and install belly bands. So I'm going to make some more belly bands, and I will install those in another video, but I will glue those to show you how you can glue it if you want to, rather than sewing it. Okay, I love you all. I will see you later. Bye-bye.